Hi, welcome to Learn English and Practice with Marie. Today we're going to do Advanced Vocabulary Builder, lesson number 123. We'll go through 10 advanced words and talk about their definitions, parts of speech, and review a couple of examples for each. We'll finish with a story so we can hear the words in context and go through a quick review of each word at the end. This is a series, so if you like this video, subscribe for more. Let's get started. First, let's read through the words. Inimitable, constituent, opaque, prodigal, ostentation, pontificate, infusion, antiquated, precipitate or precipitate, gullible. First, inimitable. This means so good or unusual as to be impossible to copy, unique as an adjective. So something that's inimitable cannot be imitated. It is so good, so unique, such a standout. This word is used in the musical Hamilton, which is one of my favorites. In that musical, Aaron Burr, who is one of the main characters who has some jealousy, he really wants to make a name for himself. He has a line where he says, "I am inimitable, I am an original." And that's his way of saying that he's unique, he's worthy, he is a person who makes this unique contribution. Examples are, her inimitable style made her stand out in the fashion world, capturing everyone's attention. The artist's work was inimitable, with each piece reflecting a unique perspective and talent. Constituent. This means being a part of a whole as an adjective, being a voting member of a community or organization, and having the power to appoint or elect as an adjective, a member of a constituency as a noun, a component part of something as a noun. So you can see there are a lot of different meanings here, but let's boil them down to two fundamental meanings. First is this idea of constituent being a part of a whole. So a constituent part of a car is its frame. That is part of the car that is essential to that whole entire entity, the vehicle. The way I usually hear this word is in the context of politics. So politicians have constituents if they were democratically elected. So a constituent is someone who votes for the politician and is supposed to hold them accountable. Examples are, each constituent of the mixture played a crucial role in the final product's effectiveness. The senator met with her constituents to discuss their concerns and gather feedback on proposed legislation. Opaque. This means not able to be seen through as an adjective, not transparent as an adjective, an opaque thing or substance as a noun. So windows can either be transparent or opaque. If you can see very clearly through the window, then you'd consider it just a regular transparent window. But if it's got sort of murky, sort of obscured glass, then it's opaque. Similarly, I prefer opaque olive oil. I prefer that sort of murkiness, and when you hold it up, you can't really see through it. To me, that's what makes a good olive oil, so that's just another usage of this word. Examples are, the meaning of the old manuscript was opaque, leaving scholars puzzled and intrigued. The frosted glass door was deliberately made opaque to ensure privacy in the office. Prodigal. This means spending money or resources freely and recklessly, wastefully extravagant as an adjective, having or giving something on a lavish scale as an adjective, a person who spends money in a recklessly extravagant way as a noun. So a nice example here are people who will use private jets, the ultra wealthy who will use private jets casually. On TikTok, I follow Amalfi Jets. They're definitely very interesting and a funny account. And the basis of that business is that they will charter private jets for the ultra wealthy. So those who use private jets freely and for very unimportant, or at least to me, unimportant things, could be viewed as prodigal. So someone who uses a private jet because they want to go and buy their daughter the latest Stanley Cup across the country, kind of a prodigal situation. Examples are the prodigal son returned home after years of reckless spending and irresponsible behavior. His prodigal generosity at the charity auction surprised everyone as he donated far more than expected. Ostentation. This means pretentious and vulgar display, especially of wealth and luxury, intended to impress or attract notice, as a noun. So something that's ostentatious is certainly over the top, very elaborate. Think of a ball, like Cinderella's ball, where the curtains are beautifully draped, there's lavish decor, the tables are set with the finest china. All of that is ostentatious, or a display of ostentation. Examples are her ostentation in flaunting her wealth made her unpopular among her more modest friends. The palace's decorations were criticized for their excessive ostentation, overshadowing their historical significance. Pontificate. This means express one's opinions in a way considered annoyingly pompous and dogmatic, as a verb. And there are additional meanings associated with the Roman Catholic Church. So to pontificate on something is to analyze it in an overly philosophical way. Often that is excessive for the context that a person is in. I know when I went to school, I was loosely friends with some philosophy majors, and beginner philosophy majors have a tendency to pontificate to their friends who aren't as necessarily engaged with that sort of depth of thinking as they are. So when I hear this word, I think, oh boy, those, young students who are pontificating and exploring ideas for the first time. Examples are his tendency to pontificate on every subject made him a difficult companion during discussions. She began to pontificate on the virtues of healthy eating, ignoring the eye rolls from her audience. Infusion. This means a drink, remedy, or extract prepared by soaking the leaves of a plant or herb in liquid, as a noun. The introduction of a new element or quality into something, as a noun. So I'm a big fan of infused water. You can do simple infusion of plants, fruits, etc. at home with very little effort. For example, I can chop up mint and put that mint in a pitcher with water and let that sort of delicious minty flavor infuse into the water. That would be a situation where there is infusion. Examples are the herbal tea provided a soothing infusion of chamomile and lavender. The startup's success was largely due to an infusion of capital from a group of enthusiastic investors. Antiquated, old-fashioned or outdated, as an adjective. So something that's antiquated is not with the times. It's outdated, and often this is used in sort of a negative context where you're being critical of something that doesn't fit with the current times. For example, there's often generational gaps in terms of views and the way that people interact with the world. So if I'm noticing that someone who's 50 years older than me is expressing a view that's highly outdated and reflective of a different time, like, for example, the idea that women should take care of the home without any help from any men, like that I'm viewing as pretty antiquated and reflective of a different time, and I am actually pretty judgmental about that. Like I said, there's like that slight negative connotation with the use of the word antiquated. Examples are: the house's antiquated plumbing system required immediate upgrading to avoid further leaks. His antiquated views on gender roles often led to heated debates with his more progressive friends. Precipitate, or precipitate. This means cause an event or situation, typically one that is bad or undesirable, to happen suddenly, unexpectedly, or prematurely, as a verb. Done, made, or acting suddenly or without careful consideration, as an adjective. And there are additional chemistry meanings. So here there are two pronunciations, and I hear precipitate more often, but something that is a precursor can also be called a precipitate. So to precipitate something is to kind of come before in a typically causal way. A car blocking the road in a sort of precarious way might precipitate a major car accident, because since the car is blocking the road and drivers aren't expecting a vehicle to be there, that can lead to a car accident happening shortly thereafter. So examples we have are: the snowstorm precipitated the breakdown of the electric grid. His hasty decision to quit his job was precipitate and left him regretting it later. Gullible. This means easily persuaded to believe something, credulous, as an adjective. So someone who's gullible is naive and takes what they hear at face value. Nobody likes to feel gullible. That is a terrible feeling to have. A little joke that is associated with this word is telling someone that if you say the word oranges backwards really slowly, it rhymes with gullible. So if you try to do that, you'll see it does not. But you look like a fool trying. Examples are: she was too gullible, often falling for scams and losing money as a result. His friends tried to warn him, but his gullible nature led him to believe the unbelievable story. So let's read through a story so we can practice with these words. In a bustling city, a politician named Jonathan had an inimitable charisma that initially won over every constituent. His speeches were grand, filled with promises of change and prosperity. Yet his words were often opaque, filled with jargon that left many scratching their heads. Over time, his actions did not match his promises, and his prodigal spending on lavish projects showcased a level of ostentation that alienated the public. Despite frequent opportunities to implement real change, Jonathan preferred to pontificate on various issues, avoiding substantial action. The community's patience wore thin. His leadership, once seen as a fresh infusion of hope, now seemed antiquated and out of touch with the pressing needs of the people. The final straw came when Jonathan made a precipitate decision to increase taxes to fund a personal monument. His supporters, once gullible and easily swayed, now saw through his facade. They demanded accountability, and Jonathan's downfall was swift. His reign ended not with a bang, but with the silent acknowledgement of promises unfulfilled. So let's read through these words and I'll spell as we go. Inimitable. Inimitable means so good or unusual it can't be copied. Constituent, Constituent, is being part of a whole or being a voting member of a community. Opaque, Opaque, means not transparent or something that can't be seen through. Prodigal, Prodigal, is spending money or resources freely or recklessly spending in an extravagant way. Ostentation, Ostentation, is an excessive display of wealth and luxury intended to impress or attract notice. Pontificate, Pontificate, means to express one's opinions in an annoyingly pompous or dogmatic way. Infusion, Infusion, is soaking leaves of a plant in some sort of liquid or the introduction of a new element or quality into something existing. Antiquated, Antiquated, is old-fashioned or outdated. Precipitate or precipitate, Precipitate, is causing typically something bad or done, made, or acting suddenly without careful consideration. Gullible, Gullible, is easily persuaded to believe something, credulous. Again, those words are Inimitable, Constituent, Opaque, Prodigal, Ostentation, Pontificate, Infusion, Antiquated, Precipitate or Precipitate, Gullible. Great job today. There are other videos like this on this channel, and more are coming soon. I'll put playlists and videos right here, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Bye.